A deadly storm is quietly spreading in China, but you won't see it on state-run news. Avian flu that spreads to humans, also known as human bird flu, has recently broken out in many provinces across mainland China. Chicken, duck, and goose farms are suffering terrible losses. Thousands, even tens of thousands of birds die overnight, along with widespread swine fever. But what's even more worrying is that information about the disease is almost completely blocked. State media rarely mentions it, and those who dare to speak out risk being controlled. Is China hiding a global health tragedy? Could the virus have mutated, putting humans at risk of a new pandemic? All will be revealed in today's program. Human avian influenza has broken out in many areas of China. On March 10th, a Chinese social media celebrity named Li Mingyu shared with his fans the latest information he had about human avian influenza. According to him, at least 4 provinces, including Anhui, Shandong, Guangdong, and Guangxi, are currently experiencing outbreaks. In particular, the outbreak in Anhui has spread widely, creating a large gap in Shandong. Quarantine areas have been set up extensively. Li continued, stating that in Shenzhen, Guangdong, not only have COVID-19 and influenza A been reported, but now human avian influenza has also begun to appear. He emphasized that people in this area have diverse eating habits, which has contributed to the strong spread of avian influenza. On some days, the death toll reaches more than a dozen people. Li Mingyu also stressed that these events are happening silently, without public awareness, and no one will openly announce them. Another epidemic prevention officer, using the pseudonym Li Hua, also confirmed on March 10th that human avian influenza has broken out in many areas of China, including Shenzhen, which has been severely affected. Quarantine areas have been fully set up. According to his description, the current quarantine areas consist of single rooms with meals and medicine delivered by robots, and doctors directly monitoring and dispensing medication. The No. 4 People's Hospital of Nanning City, Guangxi, recently issued a warning that on December 25, 2024, they received a patient with critical H10N3 avian influenza, severe pneumonia, grade 1 respiratory failure, acute respiratory distress syndrome, and sepsis. Previously, the Epoch Times reported that avian influenza had broken out seriously in Shaanxi and Wuhan just before the Lunar New Year. Now, some videos on social media also indirectly confirm that Wuhan experienced an outbreak of human avian influenza on January 8, 2025. Epidemic prevention staff wearing big white protective suits took environmental samples around the infected areas in Wuhan at night. This scene was recorded by local residents and posted online. In the online comments, a netizen in Jiangsu asked, "Is the Center for Disease Control just an executive agency?" Another person in Guangxi was indignant. "Is the epidemic just spreading quietly like this?" Meanwhile, Mr. Wang in Shanghai commented, "It's always like this in this country. Only when it can no longer be hidden will it be announced," followed by mass culls. By then, the farmers will have already sold all the sick chickens to the market. In addition, a newly leaked video showed that on March 11th, epidemic prevention personnel went door to door in residential areas to disinfect, causing netizens to discuss and speculate. On February 25th, the Chinese government announced a comprehensive emergency response plan for unexpected incidents. One of the bird flu whistleblowers in China said that localities are actively carrying out epidemic prevention drills, which are continuously being promoted. The official website of the Yantai city government also called on people to stay away from live poultry and birds to reduce the risk of infection with the severe acute respiratory syndrome caused by the influenza A virus, H5N1 avian influenza. He also said that currently, a large number of poultry birds and more than 100 species of mammals are infected with H5N1 avian influenza globally at a high frequency. The mortality rate of animals is up to 100%, while humans still have no specific medicine to prevent or treat it. Moreover, the virus is constantly mutating, increasing the risk of human infection. In this context, people should limit contact with live poultry, avoid crowded places, and use masks properly to protect themselves. At the same time, he also attached the emergency response plan for people infected with avian influenza, released by Guangdong Province on March 9th, which consists of a total of 34 pages. This document details the process of collecting avian influenza virus samples and the requirements for secondary protection, including wearing regular protective clothing, a work hat, an additional layer of protective clothing, goggles and a mask, rubber gloves, and shoe covers. When slaughtering and handling poultry, it is necessary to wear specialized rubber gloves and rubber boots. After handling the disease each time, hands must be washed and disinfected immediately. In addition to the secondary protection requirements, medical staff and sample collectors should replace their masks and goggles with full-face respirators. Persons who should be sampled include patients with pneumonia of unknown cause, suspected cases of avian influenza, including pending cases, clinically diagnosed cases, and confirmed cases, and close contacts of patients with abnormal clinical manifestations such as fever, as well as other cases where the possibility of avian influenza infection should be ruled out. On March 12th, Li Hua also told a reporter from the Epoch Times that the current bird flu outbreak in China is mainly the H5N1 strain. In addition, there is also H7N9. Both H5N1 and H7N9 strains have high mortality rates, with H5 having a higher mortality rate than H7. According to the World Health Organization, a farmer in Hebei posted a video online sharing that 900 geese on her farm died overnight from bird flu. She expressed her despair because there was no cure. In the comments, she also said that she used to raise pigs, but her pigs also died from the disease. On February 23rd, a biotechnology company in Shandong posted an important notice on its social media account warning all goose farmers to pay attention. Veterinary medicine sales staff, animal feed sales staff, and unauthorized personnel are absolutely not allowed to enter the breeding area. The company emphasized that the bird flu outbreak is very serious and cannot be ignored. The accompanying video warned that bird flu has spread throughout Shandong, Anhui, and Weifang, causing widespread damage. People are advised to take preventive measures seriously. On February 24th, a livestock support technician in Henan named Li also posted a video confirming that the avian influenza situation is extremely serious. Since before the Lunar New Year, tens of thousands of livestock farming households have lost everything, and some large farms have suffered losses of hundreds of thousands of yuan. In response to the increasingly serious situation of highly pathogenic avian influenza, the Chinese government has issued a mandatory vaccination plan for animal disease prevention in 2025. In the list of diseases that require mandatory vaccination, highly pathogenic avian influenza is at the top. The policy requires all poultry raised in all provinces and cities, including chickens, ducks, geese, pigeons, and quail, to be vaccinated against the H5 and H7 strains of highly pathogenic avian influenza viruses. However, while this could ensure poultry supplies and save the livestock industry, if the virus began to spread widely from person to person, the consequences would be extremely serious. At the same time, swine fever also broke out in many places across mainland China. On March 20th, the Epoch Times reported cases with symptoms including low temperature, loss of appetite, and rapid death. The Animal Testing Center found that it was not African swine fever, but the cause remained unclear. Some experts suspect that the pigs may have been infected with H5N1 avian influenza, According to a video by Ms. Chu, a farmer in Shandong, the current epidemic has unusual signs. The pigs' skin did not turn purple, they did not cough or wheeze, but they died very quickly. By the time they were discovered, it was too late to intervene. Similar situations have been reported in Taizhou and Taixing in Jiangsu. Another farmer in Henan, Mr. Gu, also described the horrifying scene in a video on March 17th. He warned that recently, many pig farmers in Henan, Hebei, and Shandong have reported that pigs suddenly stopped eating without any obvious signs of illness. Whether they were sows, piglets, or fattening pigs, all were susceptible to infection and died very quickly. When the pigs were autopsied, their lungs were found to have black spots, lumps, and nodular necrosis, while other organs, such as the spleen, appeared normal. Major livestock companies have also issued warnings about this serious situation. Dr. Lin Xiaoxu, an American virologist and former director of the virology laboratory at the U.S. Army Research Institute, said that the unknown swine fever outbreak in China might be related to H5N1 bird flu. There have been previous reports of H5N1 infecting pigs, most likely from wild birds. However, there is evidence that the virus can also be transmitted between pigs, as observed in the 2009 outbreak in Indonesia. If H5N1 avian influenza has indeed spread to pigs in China, the risk of a large-scale outbreak is high. However, the Chinese government has made very little mention of avian influenza in humans, leading to public concern about the potential risks of the disease. Luxury hotels are also facing a wave of closures, and Beijing is urgently seeking foreign investment. Reuters reported that amid global trade tensions and declining foreign investment inflows, Beijing is stepping up its efforts and frequently extending goodwill to multinational companies. Xi Jinping finally can't sit still, urgently seeking foreign investment. According to official data, foreign direct investment in 2024 fell by 27.1% year-on-year, marking the largest drop since the 2008 financial crisis. Recently, China's Ministry of Commerce has frequently met with senior executives of multinational companies to emphasize the importance of Sino-US economic and trade cooperation. For example, Vice Minister of Commerce Wang Shouwen stated in a meeting with PepsiCo Chairman Ramon Laguarta on Tuesday that a stable, healthy, and sustainable Sino-US economic and trade relationship is in the fundamental interests of both countries and benefits global companies. In a statement issued later, the Ministry of Commerce asserted that the essence of Sino-US economic and trade relations is mutual benefit and win-win. Prior to this, Minister of Commerce Wang Wentao met with Airbus CEO Guillaume Faury and Swire Group CEO Merlin Swire on March 10th. On March 4th, he held talks with Bristol-Myers Squibb Chairman Giovanni Caforio and Hella Group CEO Rolf Breidenbach. Additionally, Vice Minister of Commerce Wang Shouwen has recently met with several international corporate executives, including those from Brazil's Vale, Australia's Rio Tinto, Visa, and Procter & Gamble. On March 23rd, the China Development Forum will officially open in Beijing. More than 70 multinational corporate executives are expected to attend the forum, including representatives from well-known companies such as Pfizer, Qualcomm, FedEx, and Siemens. The Financial Times reported that Xi Jinping may hold talks with some CEOs after the forum to boost foreign investors' confidence in the Chinese market and garner support from the international business community for China's economic policies. However, as meeting arrangements have not yet been finalized, some executives are unwilling to stay in Beijing after the forum, and some companies are even considering canceling their participation. Some experts pointed out that these intensive meetings are not only an attempt by the Chinese government to appease foreign investors, but also an effort to stabilize investor confidence amid the shifting global trade landscape. However, with escalating Sino-US trade frictions, the continued withdrawal of foreign investment, and slowing economic growth, it is unlikely that the Chinese government will succeed in re-attracting foreign investment.